it going, everybody? LevelMDiecast. Thanks for dropping by. We are kicking off Matchbox Convention Week this week. Episode 1, we are going to talk about some 80s nostalgia magic. We have Matchbox Commando series, debuted in 1989, ran through about 1995. There are two factions that kind of went against each other. This is Strike Force. We'll take care of Strike Force first. So this is the Peterbilt tanker. There is your Strike Force little symbol there. Their little shield. This one just says gas on the side. Got yourself a flaming, warning triangle up there. This is the Peterbilt tanker. It's pretty good. It looks pretty good in all black. Normally this is always in chrome with some chrome stacks on this. I've always loved this casting. Very, very nostalgic. There is your embossed little plate on the back. Looks pretty good. So nothing super fancy about that one. I do like that one though. They did a pretty good job on that one as well. Now we got another Peterbilt in Strike Force. Of course, you got to have to tow all your military vehicles off the battlefield should they get damaged. So we do have a tow truck here, a heavy wrecker with the two hooks on the back. Looks pretty good. They're all matte green. This one, pretty much exact same as the other one, just a little bit of different deco on the hood. Got some red striping on there. Number 8, all black wheels, no chrome foil print for these or nothing like that. They were intended to be, good old military vehicles. We'll put our Peterbilt tanker over there. Now, when you're on the battlefield, you might potentially need to have some radar, obviously, equipment. This particular casting debuted as a motorhome in the Lesney era, but it was converted to, airport fire truck. It's also clearly right here being used as a radar truck. They've just swapped out some pieces on the top. That did have an opening door on it when it was a new casting in the Lesney era as well. Does have a little bit of suspension in there, not a whole lot. Does have those 8-dot universal style wheels. Blue window on this says number 9 on there, unit number 9. There is your deets. You can see where the opening door used to be. It's just called a command vehicle now, 1/114th scale. So this is clearly based on a real vehicle. This radar does turn around all the way, by the way. So nothing fancy, just a little bit of a moving feature. Nothing particularly great. Other things too, while you're rolling around on the battlefield, you'll need to move supplies and or troops. So a Volvo canopy tipper truck is probably a pretty good addition. LS 2020 on the side, there is your Strike Force again. Strike Force again, this does have a removable canopy top. Comes off the top, nothing fancy. This is the same front section as the container hauler that they did for Volvo, but is clearly different in the back. It's a double axle as well. And then, of course, it has the removable canopy piece on the top. It is printed on both sides. Looks pretty decent. Again, just all black base, black wheels. Nothing really fancy about that one, so set him up there. If you're fighting wars, you're probably going to need some medical support. This is basically the medical vehicle. This is your G-Wagon. This is the older G-Wagon. This was also used for a light-up sonic flasher style. At one point in time, you'd push the things down and the lights would light up. Plastic top on this one looks pretty good. LS 2014 is the number. I'm not really sure what the LS stands for. This is Strike Force, so I would think it would have been like SF, maybe. This does have an integrated front bull bar in there. Looks good. Your Mercedes logo down in there. Does have a tow hitch as well. Does have those really nice 80s off-road wheels. Such a classic wheel. I'll never get over that wheel. I think it's such a good wheel. Squeeze him in on the side. Let's see here. If you're also on the battlefield, you're probably going to need a vehicle for your commanders or your people who are, directing the offensive. It's just the Jeep Wrangler. Nothing fancy with this. Does have a removable top. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to take off than others. This time it doesn't want to come off at all. But I assure you that does come off. 100% does come off. It just doesn't want to come off for me right now. It wants to be difficult. There is your Strike Force logo on the front as well. Again, all black. This one does happen to have a metal base as well. These are Macau base, so set him down here in the front. Also, if you're going to be on the battlefield, you're clearly going to need some offensive power. We do have a classic here. This is the Roll-O-Matics Weasel tank. I think it still works. You can see the turret moves just a little bit. Not a whole lot, but the turret does move. It still has the little, down here, that little pin, which turns that little orange disc you see in there, which will rotate the thing back and forth. That's all it does. It just rocks back and forth. The military camo looks good. Looks really, really good on this one. And there's your Strike Force logo again on the front. It's a pretty standard logo. Nothing fancy. But I think it looks pretty good. The good thing is, you know, everything matches, which, at least in my opinion, is a huge, huge deal. All right, some more offensive power. You do want some aerial support, so you do have a jet fighter to get up there. This one does. This is a super old rubber band, by the way. Surprised that rubber band is still in one piece. This is the jet fighter, F-14, however you want to call it. It's not marked with anything. It is just a couple pieces of plastic. It looks pretty good. I think it's relatively well sized. This is the transporter. This is used for rockets and for planes. AC-1454 is its number. It's a super small scale. It's meant to be a very, very large vehicle in real life. But it does have little notches where the wheels sit in the back. And then one little notch where the front axle sits in there. So it doesn't go anywhere. It won't slide off or anything like that. There is your Strike Force logo on there. No prints anywhere else on there. Looks pretty good. The jets perfectly fit in the back of that too. Not that you'd be able to take off on that truck, but it's the thought that counts, you know. It's a thought that counts. If that's not enough jet power for you, they do have an actual jet here with the folding wings. This does carry on from the Lesney era as well. It's an older casting. The S2 jet does have, like I said, the folding wings. The wings are plastic. The rest of the casting is metal. It is pretty off scale, but you know, it was originally made to fit in a box. AC-152 is the number for this one. Got some jet intakes on there. A little bit old school jet style. Just a little bit of camo just on the wings. So makes a little bit less space. You can fold it up and roll it up. Even more offensive power. Yes, if you want a jet, or I'm sorry, a helicopter. This is the Mission helicopter here. Does have a couple of moving features. Of course, it does have the expandable rotator on the top, and then of course the tail rudder does pop out. The window pops out. There's no interior in there because that's where the tail rudder goes in there, so that they could fit it in the blister. This was actually a great design, so you can get an actual, you know, appropriately sized, realistic helicopter. It's pretty much a Apache. It's pretty much what this helicopter is based on. AC-15 is the number. Same details on the other side, nothing fancy. Just a little bit of print in the back. And then nothing fancy on the base, just called Mission Helicopter. So slide that guy right under there. And then if you ever have to take to, you know, the water, you might need a boat. This is the pontoon boat, I think is what they call this. The Swamp Rat, there we go. Also an old school casting. You see it still has the Superfast logo on there. This one does have a movable driver, so you can position him to fire wherever you want to fire. The boat is intended to be much smaller than it is comparatively. You can tell by the size of the driver. But it also has a fan in the back here, which is for propulsion. It does move and stuff like that. So it's pretty good. Nothing super fancy with it. No unit number on this one. But still has the logo, which looks decent. So put that guy there. And then the very last one in the faction, old school tank. This one looks pretty good as well. This one is also a Roll-O-Matics, although I'm not going to roll this one because these tracks are relatively fragile. So you can see it's already splitting just right there. You can see, so you want to be super careful with this. But you would roll it and then the turret would pop in and out just like this. It doesn't rotate or anything. The turret doesn't move, but the gun would pop in and out as you rolled. You can see the little action figure feature in there just a little bit. It's called SP Gun for the casting. Again, there is your faction logo. Looks pretty good. So throw that guy right in the front, I think. All right, now, if you're going to be military, you got to fight somebody, right? There's somebody you got to go against. So this is Dagger Force. This is the, basically the faction you would be going against. This is their tanker truck. This is the Leyland tanker truck. This is a super cool casting. I don't remember if this comes apart or if it's fixed. Might be fixed together. I don't know. But this is a super cool casting. It says Leyland on the front. The tanker looks good. It was sized to fit into a blister, clearly, in a box. But this one's super cool. It just says gas on the side. There is your Dagger Force logo, which looks pretty good. That one looks a little bit cooler to me. So I kind of get the vibe that this would be like the evil faction or whatever. And then like this would be the Axis power, and that would be the Allied power. That's kind of the way I look at it. But this one's pretty good. This is also an older casting as well. So put this guy right there. We'll kind of see who gets what back and forth. All right, so Dagger Force gets this particular tow truck. This is the Chevy breakdown truck. Says number 5 on there. This has a slew of stuff to it. So what I've noticed that most of these, the hooks were assembled backwards. That's just the way it is. You could probably take those out and try to move them around, but you'd run the risk of breaking it. They probably had like a pry or something when the plastic was new. They could set that in there, but now the plastic would just be a little bit too brittle. This also has a action feature in it, so you push down here. There's a spring inside of there, so you'd be able to tow. Since this hook is not the correct direction, it just wants to hook on the bumper, but that's the way it would work. Looks pretty good. There is a pretty rare variation of this one that does have a chrome print on the wheels, although I've never seen one in person. I can confirm to you that it does indeed exist out there in the wild. Nothing really fancy when it comes to radar communications for Dagger Force, although theirs it looks like more like a nuclear command. It looks like what it is, more so than just communications support. It's the exact same vehicle. A little bit of detail on that radar dish, by the way. LS-150, so they both have LS designations. I think that's kind of interesting. But this one, like I said, it's got the radioactive symbol on there. It looks pretty good. I think this one looks better in black than green. Just my opinion, but thinking about it being, I don't know, nuclear war support's not exactly the greatest thing. All right, next one up, they do have the exact same vehicle for the troop transport and troop convoy. LS-1509 is the number. This does have a gray canopy piece on the top. It is printed with the logo on the canopy and the truck, just like the other one was. So they are different numbers. They are not both LS-1509, so it looks pretty good. This one does have still the same pop-off top. Looks pretty good. So snap that back on there. That one doesn't sit on there quite as well. Not as perfect, so we'll put him up there. All right, now if you're going to be needing medical attention, it's a little bit different, I guess, for Dagger Force. They actually have like an actual ambulance. This is the Volkswagen transporter truck. This is about late 70s, early 80s version. It has an opening top. I'm not going to open it all the way just because it tends to catch on the top here and it'll chip. But the rear hatch does open up. There's nothing particularly fancy in there. There is a gurney in there, so it is actually designed to be a medical vehicle. It's not modified for it. But there is your logo. There's your little medical star on there. LS-2081, all in matte black. Looks good. I do like this casting a lot. Made in Macau, 1987 on that particular casting. Throw that guy up there. All right, now these guys have a much, much better field car, I feel like. The Defender 90 is just one of the coolest castings ever. It's just such an iconic, at least for me, being an 80s kid. This is probably one of the coolest castings. I just thought this was such a good casting back in the day. Suspension, you had the big push bar on the front, always had the color brake for the roof, looked good. I love the wheels. These wheels just fit this so perfect. Suspension. Metal base on this one. It was quite a durable model. Even if you find these in dump bins nowadays, I bet you it'll still be intact. Probably find the tow hitch broken off of it, but that's okay. A little bit of plate details embossed on there as well. I thought that was super cool that they did that back in the day. I wish they'd still do that stuff nowadays, but unfortunately they don't. All right, these factions would be relatively equally matched. They do have the exact same tank between the two of them. They both have the same Weasel tank. I do like the camo on this one better, although I can tell you the yellow probably wouldn't make it very camo. You'd probably see that from a mile away. But you can see the ridiculous orange actuator in there. This one should work as well. Not too much. It works. It's not the greatest. There you go. You got to like really, really push them hard. So when the Roll-O-Matics first came out, I'd say what, mid-70s maybe. They worked a lot better than they do currently. All right, as far as transport trucks, the other guy had the plane. They get the rocket. So again, very old rubber band. Ooh, it's kind of stuck to it a little bit. Ugh. Oof. So I always recommend taking the rubber band off. Ooh. Because it's just going to eat into the paint if you don't. RS-101 does come with 2 rocket pieces. We'll take a look at those in a second. There is your rocket truck. Looks pretty good. I like the details on this one. Nothing fancy with it. It's pretty much the exact same. You'll see that there is a space in there that is designed to hold the rocket. So all 4 corners of the rocket will sit in there. RS-101. So you would set your truck down. The rocket gets assembled just like that. Make sure that's a little bit straight. Put that on there. And then there you go. You would have a truck to shoot the rocket. I guess this probably matches the little nuclear thing a little bit better. You know, people in the 80s weren't so... I mean, the Cold War was around there, I think. But regardless, like, military was a big deal back then, and it was a fun thing to play with, at least from what I've gathered. All right, as far as aerial power goes, this guy does use the swing jet. I do like this casting a lot. The wings are tied together, so they just swing back and fold out. Again, more of a design to fit in a blister in a box than just being a cool design, I feel like. AC100 is the designated number. This guy does have a couple of pieces on there as well. There is the deets on the bottom. Again, like I said, the swing jet looks good. Has some pretty standard landing gear on there, but I like the red cockpit. Looks pretty good. A couple of jets out the back. So we'll set him over there. He takes a little bit more space just because his wings are wider. They do have the same support aerially for a helicopter. This one happens to be AC-99. This is the exact same helicopter as the other one. Even has the same blue window, but it is printed up for their own faction with the yellow blades on the top. Looks pretty good. They've done, I don't know, Matchbox has probably done about 45, maybe 50 different decos on this helicopter. It was used all the way through to, I want to say, maybe as late as maybe 2019, maybe 2018. That helicopter was quite extensively used. All right, they do have water support because, of course, you're going to have water support. You got to make it fair. This is the kind of scout boat police launch. There we go. Also from the Lesney era, a little bit of textured bottom on there. Never really noticed that. Looks pretty good. Just rolls around on wheels. The figures are well detailed. They look good. One guy with binoculars. One guy just kind of chilling. Looks pretty good, though. They also use this boat for a version for Star Cars for Jaws, which was interesting. This guy's going to be a little bit off the screen, unfortunately, so we're just going to put him on the front. And then, of course, the very last one, because there's 12 in each faction, plus there's one convoy each. We'll talk about those in a second. This is the exact same tank. This one is a little bit less ridiculous with the tracks, but again, I don't want to push my luck. 1979 is the original date for this particular casting. Looks pretty good, though. Again, when you roll it around, it just shoots the not shoots the thing, but it just moves the turret in and out. The deco and the camo on this one again look really, really good. Not too sure on the tracks, but the tracks do match each other, so made it cheaper for production. But that one looks pretty good. Now, the last things in the mix, there's a couple of convoys. Each faction got their own convoy. Strike Force got a radar truck, and Dagger Force, or Dagger, whichever one was the other one, they got kind of a giant plane. But those two came in a box set for the most part. I don't have those ones, unfortunately, but I did want to showcase those and let you know what we're taking a look at. So, all right, let's move on to our next feature here for 80s Matchbox nostalgia. We're going to leave all those guys up there. Matchbox Glo-Racers. So these were 1982. Hong Kong base on these. So these are from the Lesney era. So this is the Nightbird. There are 12 cars in the set. There are 2 decos per car. They originally came with a launcher that you could actually hook on your belt and carry the car around. There was also a play set released as well, which was kind of interesting. But then they moved to just having the cars on a single blister. But this is your Firebird. This one looks pretty good. Put this up to the light real quick and get it charged up for just 1 second. You guys can kind of see where the glow comes from. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I think what we'll do is maybe we'll kill the lights in the studio, and we'll take a look at them at the end. This is the other deco on there. Just says Formula on there, Formula 04. These are all plastic bodies, clearly, so that they are fluorescent. They can add the glow-in-the-dark bits to them. They also use special wheels, and then they have the metal base. So Flash Fire. This one was called Night Bird, even though they are the exact same car. They get different names. We also have ourselves a BMW. This says number 2 on there. There is your nice kidney grills in the front. These are relatively big. The castings themselves are pretty big. You can tell just by the size of them with those other ones there. This one looks okay. This guy was called Light Beamer. Hilarious. Light Beamer. So that's kind of funny. And then this is the other deco for the Beamer. It says Team USA on it. Number 68. 68 on the side as well. The proportions are clearly exaggerated on all these castings. They were meant to be more fantasy racer kind of deals. This guy is Speed Blazer. That one is pretty cool. I do like the BMW ones. I think the BMW ones are pretty cool. These ones I'm not too happy with, I guess. They just look weird. This casting and the next one as well. The Z's just, I don't know what it is. It looks exactly like a Z. It says number 13 on it. You'd think it's just perfectly fine. I don't know. Something just bothers me about this casting, but I think it looks acceptable for the range. They do call this guy Burnin' 280. So that's kind of cool. I never really paid attention to the name of these. I just know the 12-car set. We do have, of course, the entire 12-car set. The other one just says standard 280ZX on it with that special Z. That is orange and gray print. Looks pretty good. This guy's name is Sizzlin' ZX. They do have, of course, their item number on there. The other one was 607. This one's 608. Throw him down there. This one I don't like at all. This is the Triumph, the TR8. I don't like this one at all. I do like the pop-up headlight style, but the rest of this is it's just super squished and fat. It just doesn't look good, and you can see on the interior, there is no steering wheel. There's nothing on the inside of that. I don't think any of these have that kind of detail on there. So, Twite TR is what they call this one. It's kind of an interesting name. I do find it interesting that these are also screwed together. I thought that was a very odd choice for sure. There is your other Triumph. It does say Triumph on the top, which is kind of cool. 49 on the side. Nothing fancy other than that. I do anticipate some of these models, if they're left in light for too long. Quicksilver is the name. That some of these might get some distorted colors to them, which would definitely be a bummer. So, let's see, we're going to move this guy over here because we got 12 models to get up here, so we got a couple more to go. Porsche 928 does say turbo on there. This one is kind of cool. This one is another one that's a little bit off. But, like, again, it's supposed to be a little bit cartoony. They're exaggerated. They're not supposed to be realistic. But they are licensed models, so nothing fancy with that. Base details, Turbo Flash. Pretty generic number, just Turbo Flash. But I think that's pretty cool, so we'll put him on that side. And then the other one does actually say Porsche. It says Turbo 928 on the top. Number 5. Looks good. Hook assembly models, they are screwed together. It's so weird that they're screwed together. Dark Rider is the name for this one. Of course, made in Hong Kong. All of these were made in Hong Kong. We're talking early 80s here. So, and then the last casting we have up for Glo-Racers, your 57 vet, or at least it says number 57. It's not a 57 vet. My apologies. Just says number 57. This one's kind of interesting. This one's a little bit more freestyle. You see it does have triple tail lights on the back. So, again, not exactly meant to be realistic. Flamin' Vet there on the bottom. It looks weird. I like this one, though. This one is like, I don't know, the Corvette's one of those cars that you can get exaggerated with and it still looks good. Like this one's super exaggerated with just all the over hunches and fenders and stuff, but it looks good. It really does look good. So we'll put that there. And then this one right here, this is the secondary color. Just says number 3 on it, black and yellow. Nothing fancy with it. This one is called Streak Ray. So should have saw that one coming. There'd be something with a ray, but it looks okay. Looks okay. So we'll throw that guy down there. So there it is. That is episode 1 of Matchbox Convention Week. We got lots more stuff coming this week. So be looking out for that stuff as we run through the week, as we count down to the 2024 convention. And we'll roll out with some glow-in-the-dark racers.